Nvidia stock had another amazing week with the stock closing at over $720. Today, we did hear some reports of Nvidia entering into a new multi-billion-dollar market, and it definitely looks pretty interesting. But luckily for those that have been following this channel, it's not as new as many might think. Regardless, it's still pretty bullish in my opinion for the overall semiconductor giant. Welcome. For those not familiar, my name's Jose Najarro, and I spent way too much time reading about semiconductors and AI. But thanks to that, my education and work experience, I believe I have created the #1 semiconductor podcast for investors. So let's get started with today's episode.
I want to thank The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video, and check out fool.com/Jose for the 10 best stocks to buy now. With that link, you get a promotional offer for their subscription service. Now, let's continue with today's episode.
So we can see Nvidia right now closed the day at $721, up roughly 3.6%. In the past 5 days, the stock is up roughly 5.7. In the past month, the stock is up roughly 32%. And in the past year to date, the stock is up nearly 50%. The company is expected to report earnings on February 21st, I believe, if I remember correctly. And definitely stay tuned. And this is going to be the best channel you're going to find any Nvidia news. So the main topic of today's episode is we did hear that Nvidia chases a $30 billion custom chip market with a new unit. And that kind of came out earlier this morning. So Nvidia is building a new business unit focusing on designing bespoke chips for cloud computing firms and others, including advanced artificial intelligence process, according to 9 sources familiar with the company's plan. And some of you might be wondering, hey, Jose, how is this different from what NVIDIA already does? Doesn't it create AI chips for the overall big tech market already? And the answer is yes, but this is a little bit different. So right now, NVIDIA designs the H100, they designed the Grace Hopper 200, and all these different chips. But all these chips, to some extent, are more of a vanilla flavor. They're good for everything. They're great for all types of workloads created in the overall market. But one thing that we are seeing is big tech. Each big tech company has their own type of AI solutions and their own type of AI workloads or workloads in general that might differ from another player. So, for example, Meta platforms, they really need to have a chip that's really good at reading short-term text, reading long-term text, reading images, reading short-term videos, and recommending it to their users based on what they watch. So they might need a chip that's good for recommending some form of solution, where maybe Microsoft might need a chip that's really good at recommending, at doing AI workloads with their OpenAI ChatGPT. So we can see how all these big tech players, as they all are focusing on AI, they might be focusing in different spectrums within the overall AI range. And so what we are seeing is big tech companies are all designing their own chip. We have Microsoft that has the Maya 100 and the Cobalt 100. We have Amazon that has the Graviton, the Trainium, and the Inferentia. We have Google that has their Tensor processing unit. We have Meta that also has, I forget what Meta's chip is called, but everybody has a chip that is meant for their purpose, their own workloads that they usually use a lot. And the reason they do this is they tend to get better performance out of it, and they also get to get better efficiency out of it as well. So NVIDIA has seen this, and they created this unit, which is not necessarily new. We actually saw it on Analyst Day of 2022, where they are creating this custom chip where a big tech giant or anybody can bring their own IP. And thanks to NVIDIA's NVLink, which is the way chips kind of talk amongst each other, they're able to connect a customer IP with NVIDIA's own solution. So let's say maybe Meta might want to create its own chip, but they know that NVIDIA has the best GPU out there. They're going to create their own chip, but then they're going to come to NVIDIA and say, hey, look, I want to license to some extent your GPU and now kind of create the perfect chip that works for me. So this is a great way for NVIDIA to always be in that kind of big tech market, even if maybe we start to see a slowdown of their vanilla products like the H100, like the B100, the A100, X100, Y100, and so on and so forth. So I do believe this is a great way for Nvidia to kind of cannibalize itself before the big tech giants cannibalize them within their own chip production. And Nvidia, like I said, is I've talked about this in the past where I personally don't believe big tech giant is that big of a fear right now. But within the next 5 to 10 years, that story might change. And maybe Nvidia is seeing the same thing that, hey, look, right now we're not worried about them. So instead, let's stay in the forefront. Let's understand what they're doing by licensing our chips to them. And like that, we're always in the ecosystem that they create. Now, another kind of big thing here is not only are they going to kind of, to some extent, eliminate the threat of these big tech giants kind of not using NVIDIA's product one way or another, by using NVIDIA's hardware, to one extent, you're also going to be using NVIDIA software. So, NVIDIA is a huge software company that we've known, and they kind of optimize their software solutions for their hardware products. So, let's say if Meta, in this fake chip that I created, where they're using Meta's system on chips, but then they use NVIDIA's GPU. Guess whose software they're going to use for their AI solutions? More likely than not, they're going to use NVIDIA software solutions because it's already optimized for that hardware promise. And right now, when we're talking about this, I do believe the first place we think about is AI and big tech players like data centers. But this can go into all other industries. And I do believe that's where this gets exciting. This can go into robotics, into the mobile business, into the gaming business, into the AR and VR business. Right now, for example, Qualcomm creates these chips that are meant for the virtual reality and augmented reality headsets. But what if the next chip that Qualcomm designs, they, instead of using their own GPU or the ARM GPU that they get, or the GPU that they get from ARM, they come to NVIDIA and say, hey, look, you guys are really good at GPUs. And right now, Apple is doing really good with their Apple Vision. We want to do even better. So license us your GPU so we can kind of create this ultimate AR VR chip that can go into AR glasses and into VR glasses. So there's a huge opportunity here. Obviously, it's not going to come all at once and it's going to take some time, but I do believe this creates a nice tailwind for future revenue for Nvidia. And like I mentioned, if you've been following this channel, this is not the first time you've heard about it. And we've actually even seen real life examples already. So I do believe a lot of these analysts that are covering Nvidia should probably just be watching my channel because this is definitely the best place you're going to find any Nvidia news. And let me explain where we kind of heard about it. We've actually heard about it on May 28th of 2023. But before we go any further, guys, if you are enjoying the episode, please make sure to hit the thumbs up. Please make sure to hit the subscribe button. And if you want to support the channel a little bit more, check out my special offer at fool.com/Jose. Now, we officially hit 33,000 subs. I want to say thank you guys so much for the overall support. I'm trying my best to kind of include all the semiconductor updates, not just NVIDIA, right? Yesterday, we covered ARM. Some time ago, we talked about TSMC as well. So this is the best place you're going to find any semiconductor news. So make sure to hit the thumbs up and the subscribe button. So back to NVIDIA here. On May 28th of 2023, we did see that Mediatech partners with NVIDIA to transform automobiles with AI and accelerated computing. So for those that are not familiar with MediaTek, MediaTek is a huge competitor of Qualcomm to some extent. They create their own chips and they kind of license ARM chips as well. Well, MediaTek will develop an automotive system on chip and integrate the NVIDIA GPU chiplet featuring NVIDIA's AI and graphics intellectual property into the design architecture. The chiplets are connected by an ultra-fast and coherent chiplet interconnect technology, which I talked about earlier, that NVLink. So overall, we can see here that MediaTek, they understand, hey, look, we're great at the automotive market, but we're not great at GPUs. So we're going to design our own chip and then we're going to go to NVIDIA and license their GPU and create even a better chip compared to the competitors. So like I mentioned plenty of examples of Qualcomm also being able to do this and a huge vast majority of opportunity in this space. So we can see by integrating the NVIDIA GPU chiplet into its automotive offering, MediaTek aims to enhance the performance capabilities of its Dimensity Auto platform to deliver the most advanced in-cabin experience available in the market. So obviously, we already see real life examples. And it's not as new as you might have heard. This is something that we've been talking about in this channel before. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. I am really bullish on this news. Nvidia's earnings are coming up, like I mentioned. And if you want to find a place to get the best Nvidia news, this is definitely it.